Hey guys, my name is JessiMew, and welcome back to the Ancient Legends Challenge. In the last episode, a walrus deer brought two of our families together, and now the hunt for this creature is finally nearing its conclusion. We know that the deer is around here somewhere, but I am a little bit concerned that it may have escaped off to sea. It does seem like quite a bit of the snow has been trampled around these parts, so if it's trying to scoot off into the ocean, we might not be able to find it once it drops its meat. I guess we could do is have our little soldier brothers go out searching for it. Maybe Copper, since he's closer. We'll bring him down here, have him sniff around, listen maybe. Oh no, is it really gone? Why don't you move down to the shores then, and see if hopefully he's just like in the tide pools? No, he's nowhere to be found. Oh, this is not good. I do hear something trampling the snow, but I don't see any new pathways being made. So that might actually be on the other side of the island, where our two brave explorers are still trying to figure out what is making these paths. And our bluebirds are too. Granted, they can probably see a little bit easier since they can get a bird's eye view. And oh my goodness, do we have another one looming over the heads of our babies? Oh, that is going to put Meissi at very high alert. So maybe Copper's brother will have a little bit better luck. We'll bring Fang down this way to take the other path. He can sniff around over here and see if he can smell him. Yes! Alright, so the walrus deer is in the water. That means we're going to have to find a way to track him out if we can. Maybe this is something that Choopy is going to have to help with. He could even call for Simber to do a little bit of exploring too. He's been a little bit lazy, spending all of his time in the hot springs. And with the Anareme watching right behind him, he might want to change his ways soon. I guess first we should probably try the flames though, because they want to prove themselves too. So as we give Jester his final gem, let's see if he can start carving a pathway through all of the snow. We might have to have Pineapple do the honors. Oh, and look at this. The walrus deer knows that Copper is too tired to go after him. He's so close to the end of his lifespan, though. We only have 4 more days remaining on his lifespan, so we have to keep track of him. In fact, just one hit from like any of our creatures would probably do the trick. So if we bring Jester down here, have him grab some of the roots because I don't think he'd be able to resist. Maybe shovel out some of the snow. If he could have his brothers scare the walrus deer back onto the shore, that would be excellent. We just don't want them getting too far away from each other because they do run the risk of freezing. Unfortunately, Melody's flames are not the most resistant to the snow at the moment. We're still waiting for that heat body to appear on their babies. I feel like the walrus deer might be making a run for it now. Let's bring little June right here. There we go, that may have startled him to the shore. Now if we can have Avo wrap around this side. Oh, we just need to trap him somehow. Don't go back into the sea. I mean, I don't think he can get too far away, because I don't think he would go like so deep that he wouldn't be able to breathe. But I guess we're going to find out soon. Let's have Choopy jump way down here. Yeah, that way if the walrus deer is truly trying to sneak around in the darkness, we are not going to let him. We'll scoot Choopy toward the back of the walrus deer. Oh, I thought hopefully that would scare him up, but he seems to be turning on our creatures now. Is he trying to like intimidate Choopy? It must be fight or flight taking over. This is the fight side of the walrus deer. Unfortunately, I do see the leech though. And it seems like Choopy is going to have to retreat from the waves if he doesn't want to take too much damage. We know those piranha fish are around here somewhere after all, so he's going to have to be very, very quick about it. In fact, maybe we should settle Fang up on top of the stump. That way he'll be able to see, and he should be able to guide somebody safely to Choopy's side, so we can save him before he gets too hurt on the next turn. Now, Anareme, maybe you're going to need to give Simber a nice gentle push out of those pleasant hot springs, because he could probably help out too. We'll have him collect some of this nesting material before he goes, because we could always use the extras. Oh no, but is he going to get distracted by bunnies? The bunnies are hopping around, munching on their clovers. I think he's probably going to try to scoop up some of those too. It would be a lovely snack to take back to his hot springs later. Let's have Anareme just do a little bit of maintenance around the royal nests, since her little baby is just about to go toddling out of them. He's going to explore the world for the very first time, so she doesn't want him getting lost out there. Oh, Choopy, you poor thing. This walrus deer is just dancing around you now. He knows that you're struggling. At least this half of our family seems to have plenty more food to eat, sitting right underneath our noses. We can have Fim go ahead and scoop this up for the new little babies, doing his part to show their gratefulness to this family, I guess, since they did take Meissi's family in the last episode. Triss, I know, really just wants to go straight back to the ocean waves. She wants to crack open those shells just like Stone so desperately wishes to as well. But it doesn't actually seem like there's too many out here for them to collect. Their father may have grabbed the last one right before he passed too, and we all know how Meissi feels about that. So I guess instead we can have her start clearing out more of the snow. Oh, and going after the bunnies. I mean, you can't fault her for going after bunnies, right, Meissi? They're just in the hot springs. It's not as though it's actually in the ocean. Geez, I'm starting to think that this walrus deer might be trying to help Choopy. Maybe he's trying to take off the leash? Well, it's not going to change Anareme's mind, unfortunately. That giant feast is far too valuable to her, especially to her growing family. Now Clover has a nice big feast to pick up too, something to hopefully give to his little sister. And we can bring Meissi out of her nest to gather up the remains, leaving it for some other family. As Meissi finally sings her song of mourning, letting one out for her fallen mate. It didn't attract too much attention aside from this bluebird, who is so close to Skitty. Oh, that must be terrifying, just seeing that shadow looming directly overhead. Yeah, we're going to have to keep a very close watch over this baby. I am a little bit nervous for her. But luckily we have plenty of escape routes, so if anything truly dangerous has come our way, we should be okay. Now last but not least, let's see if we can figure out a good pathway for our explorers to take. I feel like we probably want to go up here somewhere, see what's trampling out these pathways, and maybe see if the glacier is in one of these strange little peaks. It should still be buried by the snow, but since whatever is making those paths did not touch these things, I'm wondering if maybe they can't. That could be a good way for us to find the glacier if nothing else. So maybe if we have you guys move back up your path. Oh, and I have to get that bunny, I cannot resist. We'll have you pick up the meat so Madison can go a little bit further, since she can light up a bit more of the pathway for you. And then on the next turn, they should be able to break free, and hopefully discover what has been creating these pathways once and for all. Maybe whoever's making them is even working with the bunnies, since the bunnies do seem to appreciate the paths. It must be much easier for them to gobble up their clovers that way. I wouldn't be surprised if the little bunnies even struck a deal with one of the wandering creatures. We should probably make note of that too for our hunters, because clearing out the clovers would be a pretty good strategy. But first things first, we desperately need to get Choopy out of the water. But at the same time, I mean, I kind of feel like he would go for the kill. Should we maybe see if Avo can do it instead? I don't know, I feel like Avo is going to get too, ambitious and just scare it away. So you know what, Choopy? Go ahead and attack the walrus deer and then get out of the water. We'll bring Avo down here to pick up the meat before anything disastrous happens, like the bluebird gets a whiff of it instead. But that should be 30 pieces of food in our stores. So we are officially going to be feasting tonight. Anareme is going to be so proud of you guys. Maybe that means that Choopy should even have another baby with Anareme. I feel like that would be a pretty good reward. A growing family from the greatest collection of hunters and warriors that this mountain has ever seen. But we will need Fang to scoot on over here to lick your wounds and pick that leech off of you. That way you won't attract any unwanted attention. Yeah, I'm very, very surprised the piranhas didn't catch a whiff of you. But maybe that's Anareme kind of working her magic? They were connected after all, according to Meissi. So maybe she's kind of keeping the piranha fish at bay. But let's start bringing you up the mountain. And I think this is a good time for Anareme to descend from the peaks. Maybe she could even find a stump to sit high on top of and call out to all the families, because they are going to be feasting as one great tribe tonight. This is the perfect way to get their families to all come together as one. And perhaps it's even a good way for her to increase her numbers. I'm sure that is in the back of her mind, that if she gains the trust of these individuals with this wonderful party, they might just want to stay here forever. So come on down here, Tusk, and grab up this meat for us. And then maybe it's time for us to start bringing Melody's flames up to the royal nest too. They could spend some time in the hot springs, just relaxing up here. After all of that hard work, they probably do feel like they deserve a little bit of a break. And there's no better way to meet some new friends, which I'm sure has the brothers very eager. But with our song of celebration now booming across the mountainside, I wonder if that is something that Meissi would hear. That would set into her mind once and for all that Anareme's family had truly survived. Maybe she'd even see them over the snowdrifts, since they're both sitting so high atop those stumps. Of course, we know that Meissi had some very, very strong feelings about Anareme's family, so now she would just be beside herself with worry. I mean, her children might be grown, so they could probably take care of themselves if worst came to worst. But there are so many little babies in this new home, and Meissi doesn't want to see any harm become of them. If they survive at all, if they survive the harsh ways, the harsh methods of Anareme, then they're only going to be drafted into this terrible war. So I think she's going to try her best to convince Meissi to take her children up into the mountains, as far away from that call as they can possibly get. She'll send her own children with them, of course. She can't go because she is just about to pass. But Triss is just as powerful, if not more so, with those big Megaloceros horns. So that would be a good way for her to put Messi's mind at ease, if she sends so many strong warriors with them. I'm sure Meissi doesn't really understand what's going on. Not many of our creatures understand this old ancient feud between these two families. But just hearing the panic in her voice would be enough to make her think. Because what mother out here on this mountain wouldn't want to shield their children from danger? So she'll grab little Skitty, maybe pull her up toward the mountain. It's all that she can really do since she only has one gem. And then she'll send her son Clover out to start carving a pathway up into the peaks themselves. She knows he's fit for the job. We'll have Triss follow, and I think we'll actually leave Fim right next to the baby. Oh, he can pick up some of the roots? Excellent. Give the baby a nice little snack to munch on, so maybe this whole situation won't seem so intimidating. We'll leave Meissi right there too to soothe her daughter, and then Meissi can call out from the stumps. Now that is something that Anareme is sure to hear in response. It's probably lighting a little bit of a flame in the back of her mind. She remembers those war calls from ancient times herself. It almost makes me wonder if Meissi's family was the one that banished hers. All the more reason for her to truly start putting together a little army, I suppose. And that was a little bit of bad luck from Mir. Unfortunately, she ran straight into a stone. But now we have a clear path into this beaten trail. So we're getting closer. And hopefully closer to the glacier as well. Now I think that should be the end of this turn. So let's zoom out and skip the day. Keep our fingers crossed that nothing dangerous is going to come stumbling out of the peaks, because the last thing we need is for our babies to run straight into a balance bearer. They have been awfully quiet though. So far the only threat on this mountain has been our two tribes, so hopefully it's going to stay that way. I feel like June and Pineapple would probably notice quite quickly that Simber's getting a little bit cold. Since they're so used to this sort of thing themselves, they would be more than willing to lend a little bit of warmth to their brand new friend. And they know that Jester is okay anyways, since he's sitting inside the hot springs, so it's not as though he's going to go cold. I think he'll probably want to join the party up in the royal nest soon, so we'll bring him up there as soon as he's able to. I guess Avo should probably return to his mother. He can come up this way just as Choopy does as well. Can we possibly break free through this barrier? I would love to have them have another baby on this turn after all. Let's have Anareme use her energy to break down the snow. Choopy can come over here to see his son again, and then hopefully we can breed the two. Nope, it's going to take another extra turn unfortunately, but now they can prepare for their guests. And I wonder what Avo is actually going to think of Tusk. I wonder if these two are going to be like rivals to each other. Maybe they'll even come up with some sort of competition in the future, something to gain their mother's favor. I suppose she does have to consider pretty soon who she's going to train to take her place. But that's why she's having more kids in the meantime, to give herself plenty of options. It doesn't look like we have too many roots for you to gather up over here next to your new friend Simber, so instead we'll just scoot him over there to clear out more of the path. And now it should be time for us to send our creatures up into the mountains. Now that Meissi has unfortunately succumbed to the cold weather, right on top of that stump, they have nobody left to guide them with their old ancient ways. They are going into this completely blind. We should definitely have our creatures with the Megaloceros horns light the way if we can. That way they can take care of any dangers they may cross. Though Clover, I feel, is probably just as eager. He doesn't want to miss out on any of the fun. We want them to kind of meet up with our explorers. So I wonder if it would be better for them to just carve the pathways straight through all of this tall snow. I know there's something of a path around it, but it's kind of a winding and bumpy. Some of the snow hasn't been flattened down, so it might surely be easier to just cut straight down the middle. Let's bring Fim up here too. I see that little rock poking out of that snowdrift. Let's ignore that one if we can. We don't want to waste our turns like we did for poor Ramir. So that should allow you guys to sneak through on the next turn, I believe. Interesting that the bunny guides are following right in your shadow too. I suppose they would make for some pretty good snacks if you guys do get hungry. But these bunnies have been with us like every step of the way. It is very, very mysterious. It makes me wonder what they're planning. Let's see if you guys can get any more clues on the way. There's another bunny, and there's one of those snowdrifts that I was curious about. So let's bring Ramir up here. Let's sniff inside. Oh, it's only some branches. Well, I guess that is actually quite helpful since the nesting material is so hard to come by. We don't want to be ungrateful to our bunny guides. So let's go ahead and skip the turn again. And hopefully this time we'll be able to settle Anareme right down inside one of her royal nests. We'll bring her over here. Oh, but it doesn't seem like this is going to work. Oh, that's awfully strange. I wonder if perhaps this wasn't such a great omen for their family after all. Maybe we should go back to Fang then, if all else fails. He does have much higher fertility. He might not have taken down the walrus deer, but he is still very strong and very, very loyal. So we'll bring you up here too. Let's actually have you light up the way for Jester, since he is a little bit slower. He could probably use the extra guidance when it comes to getting to the royal nests. Maybe this would be a good time for us to branch out toward this side of the island as well. See if there's any good resources waiting out there, or anything that they could use during their party. Oh, we could have Simber come over here and pick up all of these little twigs. He could make trinkets for the flames, to show them that they're all now part of the same big tribe. I think Pineapple in particular would find that pretty fun. So as we move them up toward the hot springs again, we could have Pineapple settle down right here, and hopefully he can pick up some more of those twigs on the next turn. Oh, it actually looks like we have a root right over here too. Well, maybe you could follow your nose then and dig up that snack for us. It would probably be pretty hard for you to resist that. I do see more roots off in the snow too, but those are a bit harder to get to. Maybe we'll want a little June to go up toward the royal nest instead. You can settle down behind them where the hot springs are and gather up all of the royal roots. Oh, do you think Anareme would like that? I wonder if those are snacks that she's saving for herself. June might be getting himself into a little bit of hot water here. And I think Avo and Tusk are going to be the ones to explore the backside of the island. I think they're going to be the brave ones to do the job. Yeah, because I'm hoping they're going to find some more of those bunnies. Basically, I'm thinking they're going to have a bunny competition. Maybe the creature to hunt down the most bunnies wins. We won't start yet because Avo does have a bit of an unfair advantage. But as soon as Tusk earns his final gem, they should be ready to start the challenge. Now, luckily with everybody traveling at such close quarters here, everybody is nice and toasty warm. The pathways are so narrow that there really aren't too many places for them to go. I wonder if Madison and Ramir might be able to hear them from a distance now. They probably can't see them yet because they are still quite far away, and they have other things to worry about like bluebirds over their heads. Oh, is this the same one that was tracking down something in this path? Very, very interesting. Now it seems a little bit more concerned with the one that we're traveling. Well, I hope that's a good omen too. Maybe they'll even run into a little baby if they're lucky. But I'm sure Madison has her ears to the sky right now. Do you hear something coming up behind us? It sounds strangely like a stampede of some sort. A stampede of worried families all trying desperately to find a shelter of some sort. And they have no idea where they're going. They're just kind of blindly following this pathway and hoping for the best. But at least with these two families reuniting again, they'll have more strength in numbers. It looks like we might even have some pathways being carved out toward the hot springs too. Very, very interesting. So whoever is trampling around these parts must be a little bit more vulnerable to the colds. It's probably really tough on them being so alone. Is that our glacier? Oh, we just stumbled into this thing on blind luck. Yes! Alright, so it seems like we'll have another glacier to crack open very, very soon. Oh, I am so excited. I hope that last glacier is going to have one of the last genes that we need. We are definitely going to have to cycle through some more mountains at some point, because unfortunately that is the last glacier on the entire island. Oh man, it's starting to snow again too. Good thing you guys have almost connected your pathways then, because it is going to get much, much harder to navigate pretty soon. I just want to see if hopefully these two can have a baby this time. Oh, thank goodness. You know, I'm wondering if maybe this has something to do with Anareme's hidden antenna. Maybe her family has always waited for the snows to have their babies too, just like we used to do in our other tribes, because it's not really good for travel. So having those antennas would be an excellent way to predict the best time to have their babies. But before we end out this episode, I feel like we have to crack open this glacier. I mean, these two have been searching for this ancient legend for so many days now. This is what their entire mission has been leading up to. It's kind of funny because we did assume that Anareme probably knew kind of where it was, since she was traveling around these parts. But you finally did it, little one. You finally tracked it down. So let's have Madison do the honors. She can crack it open. Oh my gosh. And the poor thing is buried. His very first moments in this new world, he's buried in the snow. He looks so cool though. Okay, Ramir, maybe you could dig him out for us so we can see his full body. An orange spotty creature? With the Megaloceros horns, so unfortunately we don't have a new gene. Ah, but he's carrying that heat body again. Oh my goodness. I wonder if maybe we can finally pull that out of our genes then? I mean, he looks like a flame if I ever did see one. A nice big flame with sooty spots. Melody is really making her presence known on this island. Oh, do you think that maybe Anareme even senses Melody's presence in our new little flames? Maybe that's why she's so interested in keeping them on her side? I mean, some of them do have the heat body in their genetics too, So maybe she would even want to make an alliance, marry one of her daughters to the flames to help her family grow. I guess we'll see in the next episode if she's lucky enough to have a daughter. But for now, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys!